The set for TMNT dropped in August, and we got some more amazing art from Lechar, who did the Critical Role Secret Rare art. So when I found out he did the art for TMNT, I reached out and said, "Can I get another interview talking about the TMNT cards, the process, your history?" I just wanted to know about Lechar and TMNT. Lechar was more than willing to answer the questions. I sent some questions over, and unfortunately some stuff came up, so it has been delayed, but he's finally got them back to me. So now we can go over these answers and we can talk about Lechar and TMNT. So I started off by basically, it's been a while since I did the Critical Role interview, so I asked Lechar to reintroduce themselves and reacquaint themselves with the community. Unfortunately, they didn't want to do any recordings or be on camera, so it's again a text one, so it's just going to be me talking to myself. I do apologize for that. So I asked them to reintroduce themselves and their history of art, and their answers were, "Hi, my name's Lechar. I'm an artist out of Rio de Janeiro in Brazil." Again, reacquaint themselves by saying that they did the secret alt arts for Critical Role Heroes of Exandria. They've been doing a professional art for about 7 years now and are absolutely loving it. I then asked them about how much we loved the Heroes of Exandria secret alt arts, how cool these cards are, and how did it feel to be working with UVS and Universus to make even more cards. Their response was, "Thank you, it feels amazing. It was a lot of fun to work with the people at Universus. The process is always so smooth and exciting, and they also love TMNT, it felt great being able to tackle these characters." So following on from that, I asked about how much of a fan they were of TMNT working on the cards. Basically, or did they have to learn about the franchise? As we know from the previous question, they love TMNT even before making the cards. Apparently TMNT is a huge thing over in Brazil, but they did have to learn a few things about the new characters coming from Tales of TMNT and Mutant Mayhem, specifically around the new versions of Bishop and Superfly. But that made it even more fun to try and come up with how these new cards would look and how he could adapt the art and the cards to these new personalities for these characters, and got them to fall even more in love with TMNT because they were able to learn a new aspect of it. I then asked who their favourite character was from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and Raphael is definitely their favourite, although they do love Donatello's personality in Mutant Mayhem, which is absolutely fair. Donatello's got a really cool, more laid-back aspect to him in more recent times, but Raphael is still the hot-headed brute enforcer of the group. Now, this is something that the next question I had was when they found out they were going to be making characters when they were going to be doing the art for TMNT, and how it came in with Critical Role. Now, we know from the interview with Hitch that these were actually a lot closer together than we thought, and this is more cemented in the answer I'm getting from Lechar. They found out they were going to be doing the alt art characters for TMNT before they did the Critical Role cards. It was actually before Critical Role. I got in touch with Hitch to see if we could work together. He gave me the chance to do a test card, which later became Leonardo's Katana, the pre-release promo. They loved the card, so they decided to move forward working on Critical Role and TMNT, and they were extremely honoured to tackle two of these amazing IPs. Hopefully we get to see some more of Lechar in the future, and hopefully we get to see some more of Critical Role and TMNT in the future. I then move on to the more generic interview questions, as I'm going to put it. How was it to work with UVS Games on this project? Lechar came back with, as always, they were amazing to work with on the project. When you have this much freedom, especially in terms of the art style, is very freeing. He had an absolutely amazing time working on these cards. Moving on from there, what was your process of finding the right art for these cards? Now, I know from Critical Role, Lechar does a lot of sketches and a lot of colouring. And it looks like from the answer, Lechar went off to do a lot of research and add on to what they already know. They wanted to get a feel of what the character usually is, how the character is usually represented across different mediums. This research process could take up to a full day of work. They then did 3 sketches for each card that they did to make sure that we could choose the best option to show what the card needed in the most interesting way. This is something that Chris, aka Hitch, has talked about a lot. making cards look the coolest, and it looks like they found a good partner in Lechar here who wants to make the cards look as cool and as interesting as possible. Because this is an artist who's worked on Critical Role and TMNT, I wanted to know how the process had differed from their process from Critical Role. Lechar answered with, since Critical Role is mostly an audio-based show, you have arranged to work with on what the characters design and make it your own. The challenge with TMNT was to make the art style my own while still paying homage to the characters we've known for a long time. Hopefully the characters are recognizable and still feeling like something fresh and new. So bringing his own twist, bringing his own fingerprints to the TMNT characters that we've loved for almost 40 years. Absolutely amazing from there. As always, I asked Lechar how much freedom they had in the creativity of the cards, and Lechar was saying that they had total freedom. They told me to come up with my own art style that fits the IP, and we just moved from there. It's a pretty rare experience to work like that. Usually you have to match existing art styles, so this was a huge, freeing, kind of loving project for Lechar because they were able to just add their own flair, represent themselves onto an IP that they already loved. And yeah, giving artists this high range of freedom. Chris, aka Hitch coming from this history with artists, is very protective of them, wants them to have a good time, wants them to feel free and be able to express themselves within the art. And it must be so good for artists working with Universus to know that the way that they feel, the way they want to work is understood because of Hitch's history with art and design. I then decided to try and find out if there was any references or anything hidden in the cards that we hadn't quite, that no one in the community had found. And no, he didn't put any references in the cards. He was more focused on just making the art his own and representing his vision of these characters on the cards. So, going into more of the art on the cards, I asked if there was any characters that presented a particular challenge. Were there any characters that he found tough? And Mega Mutant. Mega Mutant was a card that Lechar found quite challenging. I believe I repainted that card twice because I couldn't figure out how to add all the detail in a way that didn't just look like it was noise. Since the artwork on the card is pretty small, it took a lot of work, but very proud of it. So he didn't want the card to be noisy or just causing too much distraction because, like Lechar said, these are small cards. You have to make every kind of pixel count. And yeah, you should be very proud. Mega Mutant is a beautiful looking card and does take up a lot of space on the card, so I can understand where this kind of trouble came from. I then asked if they had a particular favourite card art from the TMNT set that they did, or any that they're particularly proud of. And because they all embody his own art style, he has a place in his heart for all of them, but he's really proud of his work he did on Mega Mutant, and he had a lot of fun with the Bebop design. For those of you who are not and Bebop is a very cool alt art, if not a little bit disturbing for some people. So, because of the interview with Hitch, I knew that the Leo's Katana pre-release promo was art that helped us actually get TMNT into the game. It was Lechar's card art on top of the design process for what the cards would do that helped get us TMNT. So I asked Lechar how it felt to be part of the team that helped Universus get TMNT as an IP. And he responded, it feels awesome. I was pretty nervous while making the card artwork since it was kind of a test to see if I was right to work on the cards, and he's really glad it worked out. And so am I. It would have been crazy to see what else would have gone on to these Critical Role cards or TMNT cards. Lechar is an absolute asset, and if UVS are watching this, you need to work with them more. They bring such life and energy to these cards. Following on from there as well, the art on the TMNT booster packs was also done by Lechar. So I asked him what the process was like and if it was any different than working on the cards. Lechar responded with, I actually worked on the cards first, and then Hitch told me that the people at Universus really liked how the art was coming along and wanted to see if they could use it more on more than just the cards. And Lechar was honoured to know that everyone was going to get to see his art, whether they pulled an alt art or not, because it was going to be on their booster packs. And I followed up with that, asking how it feels to know everyone will be seeing his art because it's on the boosters. And he says it feels unbelievable. I saw some pictures and videos of people getting cards I painted, looking at the packs and even some of the promotional material. I was showing my family at the time. I couldn't be happier with them than that. And yet, being able to show off what you've been working on, being able to show your family, friends, people in your community that you are on these big products and that people all over the world are loving and enjoying your art must feel so good. Coming towards the end of the interview, I asked that now we've seen Lechar on two big Universus projects, being TMNT and Critical Role, are we going to see any more of them in the future? Lechar answers with, I hope so. If the opportunity comes along and our schedules line up, I'd be more than happy to work with more art. Hitch, the Universus art director, is extremely easy to work with. I don't know how much Hitch paid him off to say that, but it's a big thing we've been getting from the artists that I interview and talk to. Hitch is absolutely amazing to work with. He understands what artists need and want, and is able to portray the projects and the expectations from the view of an artist rather than from like a corporate view that they then have to try and work out. I then said, if anyone in the community wants to see more of Lechar, where can they find him? Lechar's worked on Valorant cinematics for Neon, Raze, ESO's and ESO Agement announcements, the new console announcement, and a couple of others. They're currently making art for a new mobile game called Moko, so I'm going to have to go look it up. So hopefully we'll able to see some more of them there. If you want to keep up with more with what Lechar's doing, go check them out on Instagram. You can find them on Twitter, and I believe they may be on Blue Sky at this point. I have to go double check that one. And wrapping it up, I asked if Lechar had anything he wanted to convey to you guys, the community, the people that are experiencing his art. He just said that he'd really like to thank everyone for the reception of the cards. He tried his best to honour the source material, and he really hopes his passion and his art style come across to the community. Lechar, again, it's amazing to get these answers, to hear and see the passion that goes into making these cards. It's always a pleasure to talk to Hitch, Bad Moon Studios, any of the artists that get to work on these cards, because it's great to see. It's great to see the passion that goes behind this project. I mean, I've got an April O'Neil alt art right in front of me, and it's absolutely gorgeous. It's a beautiful card. Again, it got this kind of great stylized aspect. It's gone beyond the Mutant, Mayhem, Tales of TMNT art, capturing more of what makes April O'Neil in this new age of Turtles. I really hope we see more of the Turtles in the game. We've got Tales of TMNT hitting Season 2 soon. We've got Mutant Mayhem 2 coming down in a couple of years. And we've even got the Christmas specials coming. So there's more than enough material out for us to get more sets. This has been a absolutely amazing interview with Lechar. If you have more questions for Lechar, put them down in the comments. I can always do a part 2. And I know that he does like to watch these videos and see it back and see how the community's reaction. So if you've got anything you want to say for Lechar to see, pop it down in the comments. I will try and do more art interviews and get more of this stuff going as and when we see more custom art. I'll chase up Genzo Man because I sent that interview request out a while ago. And I will catch you all at game night, where I will be playing these alt art TMNT cards with invigorated respect for the art behind them. I'll catch you all at game night. Bye.